This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington World Match Days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss Rugby League pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. Oh, the weather outside is frightful and the fire is so delightful. Good evening, one and all. Super League Raw Weekly back on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. In the house today, Joel and Greg. Good evening, sirs.
Good evening. Are you well?
Absolutely marvellous. And hopefully Mr. Sale will be joining us a bit later in the show. Got some daddy daycare to do this evening. A couple of things to do with the girls. So apologies from Steph for the time being, but we hope he will join us. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, share. Press that share button. Let everybody know that you're watching Super League Raw this winter. That's right. We go right through the winter. That's what it's all about. It makes sense. Who knows how long these shows are going to go on for. We have been saying for 2 weeks. We expect them to be short. And then we're still rambling on just before the deadline. But we'll see how we go. Right. Let's get the bad news out of the way. Let's go. We're a positive show. We like to be positive. We like to be positive. But let's get the bad news out of the way. It has been announced within the last hour that Featherstone Rovers are going to be going into administration. This is shocking news for the second tier of British Rugby League. First Salford, of course, now Featherstone. With just over a month to go to the kickoff of the championship, two clubs look as if they're going to struggle to be on the field in time. It's really bad. The official statement, Rovers can confirm ahead of the HMRC hearing in the High Court tomorrow, which is, of course, Wednesday. So you're listening to the podcast. That is today. Following professional advice, the company has had no choice but to apply to go into administration, as it was unable to trade its way out of its present situation due to the level of debt it currently has. The club has therefore, through its legal advisors today, made an application to court for a hearing at which we hope to be granted an administration order, and we are now awaiting a date for that hearing. This will enable a winding up petition to be adjourned tomorrow and will allow our professional representatives to take the necessary steps to properly deal with the affairs of the company moving forward. It is a regrettable course of action for all concerned, but ultimately the only course of action available. We continue to be in dialogue with the Rugby Football League regarding a new club participating in the league and cup structure for next season. And we'll keep fans updated on all of these matters as things progress. So, boys, not the way we wanted to start the show. Featherstone Rovers look like they are going to be no more. Reading a couple of social media feeds, they seem to think that there's a lot of land around there that they could sell off. Property developers are circling. This, unlike Salford, could be catastrophic for Featherstone. Joel, did you hear about this and your initial thoughts?
Yeah, it's a real shame. Such a rich history in the club of Rugby League, and some very loyal supporters. Our heart bleeds for them. It's awful when a club like Feather has been there or thereabouts in the Championship for many a year, and they've really they did want to get into Super League at some point, but clearly things have taken a bad turn at some point, and unfortunately these decisions have to be made. I would love to think that eventually Featherstone could have a Rugby League team again someday in the future. But right now, this is something that needs to be done for them, and our heart bleeds for all the fans, because they have got a very good, very loyal bunch of fans that they've had for many, many years, and it's a great club for the people that are involved.
Yeah, let's be fair, Greg, it's a Heartland club as well. It's a club that's been going for many, many a year. We've had quite a few trips to good old Post Office Road in our lifetime, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, look, they really pushed hard, didn't they, for a couple of seasons to try and get themselves into Super League. And I think I've seen a few people comment that they've tried to spend again beyond the means, similar to what Salford have done, and eventually it's come and it's bitten them. But in the age of IMG, and when you look at Featherstone scoring, it's pretty good. It really is a sad day, this, and it just leaves the fixture list now for the Championship in complete disarray.
Yeah, I was talking to a witness support today who said that because of the loss of Salford, lots of things are up in the air, and now we've got Featherstone gone. And I echo what Joel says. I think it's a really sad day. Clubs like Featherstone are the heart of the community. In that area, you've got Castleford, you've got Featherstone, you've got Wakefield, and the old mining towns. It's ripping the heart out of the community of towns like that, and it is such a sad day. But there is some truth in the rumor that they overspent, spent beyond the means to try and get that Super League space, that spot that they're so desperate to get.
Yeah.
Some could argue a team like Featherstone deserves a place at the top table because of its heritage. But at the end of the day, this is about business. Something interesting, and don't give me a yellow card, Dave, but in my other life, I'm a lecturer, and one of my subjects is business of sport. And one of the things we look at is the IPL, the Indian Premier League, cricket in India. And don't give me a yellow card. I know how you feel about cricket, but it's now the second franchise behind the NFL, Indian Premier League. And there was a statement in the early days that said Indian cricket, the people who run Indian cricket had to stop seeing cricket as a cottage industry, realize it was a big business and run it like a business. I think that sometimes you could say that does apply to rugby league in general. That sometimes is that cottage industry mentality, and it needs to step out of that. And starts to be, people might think I'm talking rubbish, but it just struck me that where we are with rugby league at the minute, with these clubs disappearing and whatever, and clubs struggling, that there needs to be a more business-like mentality in the sport in general, not just at the clubs themselves, individual clubs themselves.
Yeah, like I say, it's just sad. It's very, very sad, and we concentrate a lot on Super League here at Super League Raw for obvious reasons. We're not a massive publication. That's why we need your support, folks. We are independent, and there's only so far we can stretch. But yeah, I mean, this is a disaster for Featherstone, for Salford, and for the Rugby Football League. And we don't want to be seeing this happening. But it is, and like I said, I don't really want to go on too much more about it because it's not really in the spirit of what we do. All I will say is our heartfelt condolences really to the fans of Featherstone at this time. We hope that it's not as bad as it's feared that it could be. As for Salford, 3 or 4 bidders going in trying to.
Hello, Joel.
Always happens. But yeah, 3 or 4 bidders trying to resurrect Salford Red Devils. I believe Red Devils is going to go. A lot of rumours that the Red Devils title will go, but quite a few are in for Salford, and we'll find out more on Thursday. I think they've got till 5 o'clock on Thursday, and then we'll be hearing more in terms of these bidders. But it looks as though Salford as an entity will be there in time for the new season, but they've got one hell of a job on getting the players on the field of play. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But good news coming out of Salford. Right, before we talked about that last week, let's move on at pace. It's come out this week, Greg, again, keeping ears to the ground, that the IMG structure will stay. It looks as if, again, I've not seen anything concrete come out of the Rugby Football League and Super League. A lot of rumour mills out there, but it would appear to be solid ground that there's going to be no promotion and relegation. It's going to stay under the present structure, albeit, if the 2 teams that are going to be judged by Lord Kane, that in itself is a sort of promotion and relegation, albeit, you wouldn't think there'd be too much change, providing the teams in Super League are financially viable and go from strength to strength. But I think a real positive in this, Greg, is that it would appear that the catchment is going to be removed from the scoring. 1.5 points go on catchment. And actually, when you think about it, that disadvantages the likes of, for example, Leigh and Wigan, who are in the same postcode. Yeah. And yet they're 2 of the most successful clubs. Yet they're vying for the same players, which is good in that respect, because that's going. That's going. And what they're going to do is put a point towards performance and half a point towards financials, which for me seems pretty logical.
Fairly sensible, yeah. Yeah, I never understood the catchment criteria. I didn't understand that, because we've got so many clubs within a couple of miles of each other, dotted around that M62 corridor. So could never quite understand that criteria. But yeah, I think these are welcome additions. I welcome them anyway. I think it's a more sensible way of looking at how clubs are structured and rewarding them for what they're doing on the pitch as well. So yeah, I welcome the changes.
Catchment, sir. A man who likes cricket. I thought you'd have been on many a riverbank trying to get the odd roach in your keep nets.
But we'll leave Greg out of this.
That's by the by. Let's float along, shall we? Anyway, Joel, your thoughts. I mean, like I say, for me, performance has been underweighted for me in the IMG structure. That should have always been a little bit higher in terms of its worth. And I think that, in terms of the championship as well, I think there's going to be a big change there in terms of how the championship winners from the grand final, they're going to get a bit of a tickle as well. You happy with this, Joel?
Yeah, very much so. Because you look at the likes of like fandom, that's quite a big one within the IMG scoring. But you look at clubs like, and I'm going to use them as an example. A few years ago, when Salford was playing really well, they weren't having the biggest crowds there, but the performance was incredible. We were all saying it was champagne rugby. So some of these clubs were putting some really good performances, and they can't seem to grow the crowds. It was a bit of a shame for them that they wouldn't have scored higher because of the performance that they put on. So this is now, it's a good positive, is this. I think, especially with the catchment areas, that kind of, as you mentioned, wasn't really fair, because for some clubs, it would have scored them higher. Some would have probably not scored them at all. But yeah, as regards these two coming in, getting a higher scoring percentage, I think is a very welcome change.
Yeah. Mike Irving, good evening to Mike. That's a new name. Give you Mike a shout out. Mike, get yourself over to our YouTube channel if you don't mind, mate. It helps us to grow by going over there. You won't miss a beat. But he says, shouldn't base it on performance this season, as 2 clubs only have 50% funding and isn't a level playing field. My understanding was that, central, through the Rugby Football League, they were looking at things like the Ashes series and Magic as a potential way of further funding those teams that are coming up this year. But yeah, it's an interesting point. But again, it's about being it's about cash flow, it's about balance sheets, it's about that, and they've got to spend within the means. And providing they get, look, at the end of the day, even with their current state of play, they've been given a Super League license. So providing that, again, they can go again and do a good job in Super League. We saw London do that. They didn't invest heavily in the squad, but they were competitive and very, very nearly finished above all FC. That seems a long time ago now. Then they should be all right. Good evening to Adi Simpson. Good evening to Andy Bibby. Paul Farrell as well. That's a new one on me. Paul Farrell. That's a new one, I think. Good evening to you, Paul. Billy Ingram, of course, he's with us. I think I've seen Stevie Rudge about. I have. He feels for the players. Yeah, absolutely. Featherstone Rovers players, quite a few of them probably be part-time, but Christmas round the corner, very, very sad indeed. It's a very good point that Steve has made. Nige Bennett is with us. Good evening, Nige. Craig Forth as well. I'm sure I'm missing a few out. Ever Bailey, I can see. And keep your comments coming. Get involved in the show. And Carl Shaw, sorry that you're late. You are on notice, sir. It's a very, very disrespectful thing you've just done. You should never be late for a weekly at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. If it's a Thursday, I'll let you off. It's not the usual day, but certainly not on a Tuesday. Dear me, what are you doing? But anyway, there you go. Right, so that's the IMG bit. That's that. Let's praise this man. It's only right. It's only appropriate that we do. His current challenge has surpassed £1.3 million. It's another mammoth effort from Sir Kevin Sinfield, as yet again more and more people are coming out to say he deserves that knighthood as soon as possible. Even Piers Morgan. I mean, dear me, I never realised Piers Morgan looks beyond his nose, but there you go, he does clearly. He's seen the talent in circuit. Good evening, by the way, Mr. Morgan. I hope you're well. But yes, brilliant. And of course, no sooner does he finish that challenge, Greg, he then announced he's doing it all again in 26, with the grand final being the final destination on the 3rd of October. This man is a Goliath, sir.
Isn't he, Justin? He's doing Rugby League Heartland as well, so a great chance for Rugby League fans to get out there and give him some support. Yeah, there's not a lot more I can add to what I've said last week and over the weeks. You know, the guy's superhuman. What he's doing to raise awareness of MND and what he's putting his body through, to me, that challenge is absolutely superb. I think the Speaker of the House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, big Rugby League fan, big Warrington fan, actually, believe it or not. Yeah. Has added his voice to the call for him to be knighted. I'm sure it's not too distant in the future when you know he will get that knighthood.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another 1.3 mil, Joel.
Yeah.
It's just the amount of money this man has raised for MND is quite simply incredible.
It's colossal, not just for the amount of money that's been raised, which is incredible, but it's just for the whole community of MND that you know have been so tragically struck by it. There's a lot more people now that seem to be getting it, or that we're aware of, that's getting the notification through, or the news about it, the press. But thankfully, because of Kevin, you know that has been accomplished, and you know it's wonderful. Even having fans running in front of him to try and get an autograph and getting.
Did you see that?
That was bonkers, wasn't it?
Comedy gold.
What are you doing?
You know what? Whoever she is, fair play to her. I don't think many other people will be trying that.
But I'm not being funny, right? Rugby League players, they're very, very accessible. On what planet do you think you're going to get him to sign an autograph on the run and to actually run in front of him? I mean, she could have injured him to the point where he couldn't have actually gone on and ran. And, you know, what are you doing? Shocking.
They'd have ended up in hospital bed next to each other.
Unbelievable. But there you go. But PDFG, he's done it. Mr. Fowler's gone over to YouTube and he's telling us he's been in a few weeks. Up the Bulls, he says. Looks like we've got a new Bradford Bulls following. Maybe become a member. We need Bradford Bulls fans in the membership. Become a part of the Final Whistle podcast, Paul, in 2026. Your opportunity on a Sunday night to talk about your Bradford Bulls with the other Super League Raw members. There's the QR code. Go and have a look at it, mate. Come and be a part of our community. And what better time to announce this? Next season, we are looking for roving reporters. That's right. some of our members, they are going to be roving reporters for their clubs. More in the WhatsApp group on that one. Keep your eyes peeled on the WhatsApp group in the announcements. We will be doing a group meeting on that. Volunteers for clubs. I've already got quite a few that's put their hands up for it. But if you want to be a roving reporter straight after your game in Super League alongside other Super League Royal members, then let me know. That is on its way. Speaking of something that is on its way, we have an announcement. This was confirmed between now and Thursday, wasn't it? It has been announced. Maybe there he is. Maybe that's Paul. He's already done the QR code. Good man, Paul. You know, it makes sense. Maybe he'll join this evening. Be good. But we did say that the Bluebell on the 18th of February, our fundraiser for young Alfie Sales. Alfie, of course, Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Alfie, we found out about Alfie a year ago. We're raising money for his bucket list. It's gone mad. He's been in Liverpool. You know, there's now fun runs in his honour. It all started right here, baby, at Super League Raw. And we continue to support the family and Alfie to get as many of his bucket lists done as possible. I believe they're still going to Paris Saint-Germain, which will be absolutely wonderful. And on the 18th of February at the home of Super League Raw, the Bluebell in Warrington, we announced Danny Walker, we announced Steve McNamara. You saying, Tellings fans out there, prick up your ears because George Whitby has now been confirmed. George will be one of the most brightest talents in Super League. He will be in attendance at the Bluebell between 7 and 10 on the 18th of February. Tickets on sale now, only £12.50. All proceeds go to the family, to Alfie's wish list. If you just do the QR code or visit www.superleagueraw.com and go to the shop, you'll be able to buy those tickets and read a little bit about Alfie's story. George in the house alongside Steve McNamara, Danny Walker, more guests to be announced from the Leigh Leopards and probably the Warrington Wolves as well, and maybe other clubs like more St. Helens, perhaps even the Wigan Warriors. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll keep announcing these people plenty of time. Great Christmas present, has to be said. Come and have a really good chilled out evening with some of the stars of Super League, and we'll have a right good laugh. We did last year with Ben Westwood and Earl Crabtree. This one will be great as well. But yeah, George Whitby in the house, Mr. Nixon. Be good to see young George.
It will be. What a talent that guy's going to be.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. It's going to be a fantastic night. And again, talking about good causes, another really brilliant cause.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Joel, you were the man that got this one over the line. Take a bow, sir. George, he's a great player. I've never actually been in his company, actually, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's going to be really insightful, especially from a younger generation player who's just emerging now, who's starting to make his stamp on the game. It'll be very interesting to see his insight on how Super League is, how he approaches the game and different things. It's a great time to be getting your tickets, guys, because you're going to be able to ask these players these questions directly. There's no other place you're going to get this where you can just go up and have a beer with them. Well, maybe not with them because they'll be ready for the new season, so you might not. You maybe can get them a water or a Coke or something at most. But yeah, these are really big names in the game, and players like George, cracking lad, obviously a great player, but a cracking lad, and we're very much looking forward to being in his company on the 18th. So please get your tickets because it's going to be a cracking event, and there are, as Dave says, plenty more potential players to be coming and other people from clubs.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got plenty more announcements along the way, but that is for a great cause. The 18th of February, 2026, 7 o'clock start. It is in half term. It's going to be a great night, great debate. There'll be some great raffle prizes up, signed memorabilia and stuff. We'll raise as much money as we can. And like you say, you get your dinner as well for that. So, if you live in and around the Warrington area, I know that we've got people coming from Hull, we've got people coming from Huddersfield, we've got people coming from around the country. But if you certainly live within 20 miles of Warrington, and let's be fair, there's a lot of Heartlands clubs, Widnes, St. Helens, Wigan, Warrington, of course, Leigh Leopards. Please spread that one far and wide. Share it to your family and friends. Let's make that little lad's dreams come true with his family. He's fighting that disease really bravely. And let me tell you now, once you've met Alfie Sales, he will leave an impression on you for the rest of your life. That boy is very, very special indeed. Right, let's get this done. Banging or hanging? Yes, of course. It's a bit of hanging and banging. Of course, we've got low hanging fruit. It's the end. Let's be fair. There's not much going on out there. I mean, I have to giggle. How much news stories have we got about players? dislocating the finger in training and being out for a week. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, we're miles away from the season starting. We're not, as long as it's not 6 months, 7 months, 5 months, ended, out for the season. If somebody's got an injury for a couple of weeks, it's pre-season. Wow, slow news days out there. We're not going there. But James Bell, we hope you get better soon. Right, okay, let's get.
I wondered where you were going with that.
The length Mr. Bell goes to make sure he's off on Christmas. Good lad, well done. Right, okay. Ho, indeed. Right, do you know what? Bradford Bulls. You've got to tip him the wink here, boys. Look at this. Oh, they're nice. Retro Bradford Bulls memorabilia on sale at their club shop. The one on the left has been designed by Brian Noble, no less. The one on the right with the old coat of arms, 42 and 45 quid, respectively. Those on the podcast, this is the heritage shirts. Go to the Bradford Bulls, go to their heritage page. Oh, these two little beauties. I'm sure Mr. Farrell will be having one of these under the Christmas tree. Our new friend Paul, I bet he's absolutely loving one of these under the Christmas tree, Mrs. Farrell. They're nice, them, Reggie. They're nice.
Really nice. I love the Bradford Northern one.
Yeah.
Takes me back a few years. I love retro shirts. I really wish Warrington would bring the Wembley 1990 shirt out as a retro shirt, because that'd be a massive seller. Saints have kind of done that this season with a nod back to the 90s with their kit this season. Warrington have in fact done that. It's kind of a trip back to the 1950s with their shirt. Last time we won some, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I love them. I love retro stuff. Really big fan of it. I hope it's a real bit. And it's a real good way of boosting shirt sales, because who doesn't love a bit of memorabilia? Who doesn't love a bit of retro? I think it's great. I think every club should do it.
Yeah, absolutely stunning them, Joel. I mean, as a Huddersfield fan and as a man who's very disappointed with his club's efforts where tops are concerned, I've got to go there again for you, fella. Even you've got to concede they're beautiful. That's a very nice shirt that to wear on the terraces.
No, it's stunning. Yeah, it's brilliant. Love heritage stuff. In fact, it'd be interesting for those who have been a part of or been around when Bradford Northern was in. Please put in the comments for us. It'd be interesting to see who was watching Rugby League when Bradford Northern was a team. But the one on the left, Reggie, that goes without saying that, I think.
Aye.
but the one on the left, that to me just screams Bullmania. And yeah, that is going to be a cracking top. It's going to be one of them shirts that you're just going to have to buy it, because if not, it might be a once in a lifetime opportunity, because once they're gone, they'll be gone.
Mate, if I'm a Bradford fan, there is no doubt I'd be asking the wife to get me one of those little beauties. That is a wonderful thing. Banging, and then banging some more. That's what I would say on that one. Adam Bold. Yeah, well done, Adam. I mean, Adam, why wouldn't you want to become a member, first of all? But you're right. Let's just clarify that straight away. The Alfie night is open to non-members as well. That is not a members-only exclusive. The only members exclusive at this moment in time are the tickets for the Challenge Cup final, Club Wembley, for only 35 quid for members. That's incredible. Club Wembley. It'll be a great day at the Challenge Cup. We were there last year. We had about 8 teams represented. We had a great day together. That is members only. That discount is for members only. But the action for Alfie, it's a fundraiser. Yes, if you're a non-member, fill your boots. Get in there. Absolutely fantastic. Speaking of members as well, before Greg rudely interrupts me, because I can see the finger coming out, the finger of power. But anyway, before we go to that, Christmas is here. So here's an exclusive for current members. If you bring a friend, so if you can get, or maybe it's a Christmas present for a friend to build a membership, any annual membership that is purchased by a friend of yours between now and Christmas Eve, you're going to have to send me the name, though. So it's going to have to be verified. I will send you, as a thank you, a free 2026 hoodie. There you go. So that is my Christmas present to existing members. If you bring a new member to our family, got to be new to Super League Raw, but if you bring a new member to Super League Raw between now and even Scout, my dog, thinks it's a great offer. Listen to that. She's all over it. If you bring a new member to Super League Raw between now and Christmas, then you will get a 2026 hoodie. And let me tell you, it's pretty special. So there you go. Right, whilst I go and shoot the dog, no, I'm not really going to shoot it, but it is Raw. We do say it's Super League Raw. Boys, what do you make of this? Third kit at Hull LFC. Here it is. Woohoo! Joel, I'll let you have first dabs on that one.
That is out there. If there isn't a kit that's out there, I wouldn't expect anything less from Hull FC, if I'm being honest. Though I do quite like it. I think it's a good kit. It's not for everyone. I imagine that. I can imagine, but there'll be a lot of people who will certainly be buying that shirt. I think we're going to see a lot of people wearing that top this season. But yeah, I do quite like it, to be honest with you. It's a little bit different, but Hull FC have been known to do that with their away kits.
Well, what I would say, Greg, is that, it's a bit Rizzo, isn't it? I mean, they're going to rule the school, these pink ladies, aren't they?
Oh, I love it. Pretty in pink. I love it.
Absolutely.
I really do like it. I love the kind of the lilac colours that came out last year. I love these off the wall colours. I think they deserve to be big sellers. I put my hand up to speak before because just want to clear something up that Aidan Simpson's put in the chat. I was actually there the day the Rugby League was born. I was Aidan, but I was sat outside in a pony trap with a bottle of pop and a bag of crisps. So I didn't actually get in the meeting. I was too young to be in the meeting, mate, but I was there. Oh no, going back to this. Going back to this shirt. Yeah, I love it. I think it's a I love unusual coloured shirts. And this is one that I really, really like.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some sort of Lily the Pink type of chant that FC can come up with for this. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave it with your FC fans, but Lily the Pink, the great Lily the Pink song. There's got to be a chant you can make up there for the terraces this year. Now, I'm not particularly sold on that. I won't buy that. But again, just to be fair to our friends over there at Hull, talk about heritage again. Oh yes, look at that! Look at that on the left. Oh, that is wonderful. Heritage of FC. Absolutely love it. 30 notes, these beauties. 30 quid in the club shop. Of course, a bit of New Zealand flair on the right. The one on the left, I mean, hoops of Hull FC. Joel, again, what a lovely thing to have under your Christmas tree if you're an FC fan.
Yeah, that is a bob-on replica of years gone past. That shirt is still worn by people, I believe. I've seen it around grounds.
Yeah.
Especially when they come to Huddersfield, I've seen them wear it. They're lovely tops, really nice tops. Them. If you're a Hull FC fan, once again, that is definitely a present for your for this time of the year. That's for sure. I like the one on the right though. It's like a nod to the New Zealand Maori, but of course, yeah, it's traditional Hull FC, and I do like it. Striking.
Wonderful word, striking. Reggie, would you agree? Striking.
Love it. Yeah, I love the nod to the all black one. Bringing back kind of memories of James Luluai and Gary Kemble and people like that who graced the Hull FC shirt in I think it was the 80s. Love them both. Again, retro. I just love retro stuff. Some of the retro stuff is better than the shirts that clubs are producing for this season.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love the black and white stripes. I think Hull is synonymous with black and white stripes. And all right, irregular hoops, Andy. Okay, and but I do like the black with the white V because it brings back memories of Wembley in the 80s and those great New Zealand players that Hull managed to bring over.
Okay, well, look, boys, like I say, not much news. We're having a bit of fun. We're talking rugby league. Come on, it's Christmas time. Let's just chill out here, folks. We've got to fill some time with you. But we like doing weekly. We like having a chat. We're getting into some proper debate in a minute. But we like a bit of hanging and banging, just keeping the flavour going in time for the new season. Right, the top two of last season, Hull, KR, and the Wigan Warriors. Now, yes, again, in fact, I have to say, some clubs talk about Scrooges. I mean, St. Helens Volstagg, what's going on? You go on St. Helens shop, you put in Christmas, and what do you get? A greetings card. You can buy a St. Helens greeting card to give to someone. Talk about bar humbug. Unbelievable. Shocking effort. There are lots of, Christmassy stuff out there, but I just wanted to pitch the top two of last season head-to-head in the Christmas jumper stakes. Let's start with last season's runners-up. And I tell you what, Ollie Wilson looks delighted with his first photo op. Look at that, Ollie. He's loving it, isn't he? He's loving it. Look at that. Oh, he's like, oh my God, what have I signed up for here? Now, for the podcast, it's a very, very cherry and white jumper. It's got Kings of Rugby with the three wise men underneath it, Wigan Warriors underneath that, Christmas trees galore, bit of snow, and also the Warrior head from their badge. And the magi on this particular picture is Ollie Wilson, Cruz Leeming, and our friend Mr. Liam Marshall, who's in his testimonial year. Boys, if you wore that for your Christmas jumper day at work, they would see you coming. That's a bit loud, isn't it?
That's too loud, especially with Ollie Wilson being in it. I'm still not over that.
No,
there's a bit of a clash, isn't there, with Ollie Wilson and that jumper?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I can see what they've done with it though.
Yeah.
I quite like it, actually. I quite like it.
That's loud. That's
like
loud.
it.
That is.
Like, listen, Christmas jumpers are supposed to be loud.
Well, they are supposed to be loud, but then you've got Hull KR. And do you know what? Hull KR have gone, do you know what? We're going to do it, but we're going to do it subtly. You know, and I have to say, got to tip me wink to the Robins here. Look at this one. Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
That is clean. It is what it is.
It's a lot more subtle.
Very subtle. It's very subtle. You know what I mean? It's subtle. I don't know. It's you can toss your coin if you're big on Christmas and you like to go loud and proud. It's the Wigan Warriors. If you want it to be a little bit more, people aren't going to look at you as if you've got two heads no matter where you go. Then maybe you're going to go KR. I don't know. But I'll tell you one person who does know, and he's back. Here he is. I've been telling him he can go through the close season, and for whatever reason, he's not been taking me up on the offer. But he's back tonight, complete with his new sponsor. Here he comes.
This is what would Oliver say at Super League Raw. So I was scrolling through the comments on the Super League Raw group, and I noticed one comment that I really strongly agree with, and it was changing the name Super League to RFL, because there is already two sports that have Super League, such as Women's Super League in football and Super League in basketball, and I think that would be really unique for our sport. And whenever someone sees our sport, they'll know what it is, such as NRL and NFL. Also, well done Kevin Sinfield for doing 7 and 7. Cheers.
Yeah, a nice single malt there in the cheers to you.
I heard it was a Bacardi and Cokes.
Ollie's back. Fantastic to see the young man. Ollie, of course, I'm sure he's already got his Christmas jumper. What a top man. And of course, Southcote's carpets there in Hull. They're his sponsors for 2026. Put the graphic up for them. They're going to be sending me some video. We're going to do a proper little intro for Ollie next year. And rightly so, he was a champion in 2025. But boys, what would Oliver say? John, I'll let you kick off on this. Super League as an entity, we should get rid of it, and we should come up with a name that symbolises rugby league in the UK and a brand that isn't confused. Would you agree with young Ollie on that?
I would, yeah. And before I kick off, Ollie, great to see you again, buddy. We have missed you, and we're looking forward to seeing you next year. To answer your question, yeah, I'd quite agree with that. A few years ago, I wouldn't. I know there was a poll done, wasn't there? Or there was a few questions done to people out in one of the streets and towns and cities where they asked if they said what is Super League. The majority said netball and cricket, and unfortunately, whether we like Super League or not, if it hasn't got the branding or it hasn't got the advertisements out to the masses and they don't know who we are, then clearly something's not right and we need to change it. They always say don't fix what's not broken, but you must fix what is broken. And that is one thing for us. Maybe it might be a sport that gets branded or gets shown more worldwide and gets more traction with a different name. Possibly that's what we need. You look at the word NRL, everyone knows that is, Australian Rugby League, NFL, yeah, NBA. We all know these are household names and brands. Rugby League now needs to become a household name and brand, but and that can sometimes just start with the name change.
Yeah, I mean, it is confusing out there, Greg, isn't it? There's no doubt about that whatsoever. It was probably I think we said this, me and you, many a time in the years we've been doing it. one of the biggest mistakes made by Super League was that they did not copyright, trademark that brand at its inception.
I was just going to say that, Dave. That was the point. The whole point I was going to make on this. How short-sighted. And again, going back to treating it as a cottage industry and not a big business. We had the perfect opportunity in 1995 when Sky Sports invested £87 million back in 95. Huge amount of money. Invested 87 million pounds, I think it was, in our sport. Why didn't they trademark it? Why didn't they copyright it? I'm hoping that we become NRL Europe in a couple of years when the NRL come in and actually invest and buy into our sport. And I'm really hoping that is what happens over the coming years, that the NRL actually does follow through with its promises and we become NRL Europe, and then we got the NRL Australia, and it's a competition is aligned and has a more of an identity. Because when as Zoe, my youngest, says, when she hears Super League talked about on BBC Sports, she thinks all the time about Rugby League, and then it's women's football or it's even netball's Super League now. So yeah, a huge mistake, and it needs to be rectified.
It does, and a big apologies to Nige Bennett, who has dipped his hand in his pocket to buy us a pint. Good evening, Nige. Nige, a member, and he's he loves us that much. He wants to buy us a pint during the show as well. If you're not a member, then by all means, buy us a pint. Absolutely, great entertainment that we give you every single week. Outstanding stuff. Well done, Ollie, and of course, well done as well for tipping your hat to the great Kevin Sinfield. Ollie back in 2026 with more of his great commentary. He's been fantastic last season, and like I say, he will be sponsored next year, his own sponsor, and I'm not going to spoil it for him, but there's a surprise. There'll be a surprise for Ollie next season. But anyway, that's by the by. Right, let's go around the grounds again. Like I say, not much happening. Everybody's winding down for Christmas. We know that. But let's do this. Castleford Tigers. Tigers Christmas Social. Go on, have a bit of this. 18th of December, between 5 and 11 p.m. It's a long one. It's a 6-hour job. The men's first team, squad and staff will be on hand to meet and greet fans with an opportunity to have your photo with them, as well as Christmas games, music, and a chance to meet the big man himself. Adult prices are just, I'm not talking your pack, but I can't say that. No, of course, I mean the big fat man with the long white beard. Adult prices are £15 per person, and that includes a hog roast and a drink of your choice. Dom Perignon 53 will be mine. Meanwhile, it doesn't stipulate. Meanwhile, for kids, it's just a tenner, and it will include a hog roast, a hot or a soft drink, and of course, they will get a gift from the big fat man with the long white beard. Season ticket holders will also be able to collect their centenary coin at the event from the Castleford Tigers. Wonderful stuff. So if you're a Castleford Tigers fan and you haven't heard the news, Thursday the 18th, get yourself down to the One Ball Stadium and enjoy a night of fun with the players. And yeah, should be a really nice pre-Christmas night out with the family. So well done to them. In more pressing news, this caught me by surprise, Greg. Lindsay Anfield going to Catalans. Your thoughts on that? Obviously, when she left York, again, people were surprised about that, but now she shows up at the Dragons. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a hell of a coup for the Dragons.
A brilliant opportunity for Lindsay as well.
Yeah.
She left York, which was a bit of a shock because she's had huge success. They've been one of the great kind of drivers of the women's game in this country. So for her to leave was a bit of a blow for the Valkyrie. Originally thought that she was going to develop the youth side of the girls' game over there, but clearly this is an opportunity that's too good to miss. So I wish her all the best. Absolutely wish her all the best, and it's a great move, not only for Lindsay, but it's a fantastic opportunity for Catalan Dragons to invest in somebody who's been an absolute trailblazer in the women's game, as far as I'm concerned, in this country over the last 8 or 9 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Brilliant move. Brilliant
move.
move.
And, again, and if we want the women's competition getting better, we know that Catalan, hey, well done. So it's a biggie, that. It's a biggie. Right. Joel will be back in a moment. Don't worry. He's just had to nip to the little boy's room. I won't spare his blushes. But in case people are wondering, we're not going to have a Frank Drebin moment. The camera and the sound has been turned off. Anyway, we carry on. Me and Reggie, as Rugby League Europe is being debated, NRL Europe. There's loads of stuff in there that people are having a chat on. And Nigel Bennett is now delighted he's tuned in because he haven't heard about Lindsay Anfield. So there you go. Well done, Nigel. There you go. See, we're always at the cutting edge, mate.
Heard it here first, my friend.
Yeah, we talk a bit of women's rugby league on Super League Raw. Don't worry about that whatsoever. Right, let's get into this. Squad numbers have been announced at KR. Obviously, Mickey McAlone's gone. So has JWH. You look down it, there's not an awful lot of change other than Tom Amone's coming at 10 for JWH, pretty much as you were. Quick look, of course, we're not going to get into it now. We do it in January, but I wouldn't say it's progressed. I would say the squad has stood still at best at the moment. Would you agree, Greg?
Artemorg. I don't think he was number one last season, was he, Artemorg?
No, he just took over from Evels, who left, wasn't he? So,
yeah. There is an argument to say that you need to refresh some elements of your squad every year, but they've just come off the back of a treble. So there may well still be some movement there. We'll have to wait and see. But what if it's, and the other argument is, if it's not broken, why fix it?
Yeah.
So they played outstanding rugby league last season.
They did, but we say don't break what isn't broken. McAlorm and JWH retired, so they had no issues there. Like I say, Obamon for me needs to be a lot better next season.
Needs to be a lot fitter as well.
I know he does. He needs to be a lot better. And Fitzy is spot on. Big year for Bill Leyland. There's talk in terms of them looking at another 19. That's why that big hole in the middle is there.
A lot of youth in there as well. And they've obviously, as a lot of clubs have done this season, want to invest in the youth and bring that through, which is good to see.
Craig Forth has nailed it. Wiggins stood still last year and look what KR did. And I think that's a really rallied point. It's interesting. Ollie Stokes, mate, you don't need to do that, pal. But he says, thanks for having him in 26. Can't wait. Mate, we can't wait. We can't wait, mate. You got us talking last year. You've been a quality addition, mate. A quality addition.
It's a pleasure to have you on board, Ollie, mate.
It is. This is what Super League is all about. We're inclusive. Look at what we're doing for Alpha. We've given Ollie a platform, which is absolutely right. And we have got some incredible stuff coming in 2026 that nobody else is doing. Some incredible initiatives on the way for 2026. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Your initial thoughts very quickly, Joel. Like I said to Greg, at the moment, it's stood still. It's not, I wouldn't say it's strengthened.
No, I don't know what's been said so far, so I apologise if I've said anything that you guys have said. But with KR, because they've done so well, they don't have to worry and stress about making some big additions. I understand we've got a couple of players that have retired and whatnot. But with the addition
on that though, Joel, don't forget Wigan won a quadruple, mate, and look what happened to them.
Exactly, yeah. But I guess what my point is that that even if it means mid-season signings that they end up getting, it wouldn't be the end of the world for them, because they have just been so dominant that they could certainly at least coast in the first half if they were struggling, and they'd make some good mid-season signings. What KR aren't going to do is fill gaps just for filling gaps' sake. They're going to get people in that really make a difference and impact the team. And I know we've said before, don't fix what's not broken, but you do need to kind of, add to what you've got as well. But that comes into adding to it, not just creating a filling a space.
It's going to be interesting. Like I say, we'll get into the squads in January and we'll really look at have they improved, have they not improved, and what we think of them overall. Let's give FC a little bit of credit, boys. 9,000 members they're up to now for 2026 at Hull FC. And they've extended the pay monthly scheme. So well done to FC for that. Warrington have confirmed, well, actually, I don't think they've officially confirmed it, but other people are now confirming what we said on Thursday, that Warrington will play Leigh at the HJ on the 30th of January in a pre-season game. That is now out there, and it's pretty, well, we knew last week that was happening. Last but not least, we've got this one. Matt Whitley and Shane Wright will be at the Saints Superstore on the 11th, which is this Thursday. They're there on the 11th for they'll be signing your merchandise in the shop. So that's pretty much all of St. Helens' news done and dusted. But Matt Whitley, Shane Wright, if they're heroes of yours in a Bed V, get yourself down to the Superstore for their signing. And in fact, if you just keep an eye on all the club's websites, many more signing sessions right across the league between now and Christmas. Again, absolutely free. Great way for your kids to see their heroes. And of course, the Rugby League lads will always sign a shirt, etc., etc. Right, let's get into what should we do next. I'll tell you what, let's have a bit of fun. Let's have a little bit of fun before we review Leeds and Leigh's 2025, gentlemen. Something as well for people to get involved with in the chat. That's an interesting point that Phil Webb said. Wigan didn't go backwards, Rovers went forwards. I think it was a bit of both, Phil. I think it was a bit of both. Let's not split hairs over that. Bottom line is, mate, you're treble winners and you're there now to be shot at. And I'm sure that will be the case next year. You're on your pedestal. It's now for another team to come and knock you off, and that won't be easy. But don't rest on your laurels, mate. You rest on your laurels, you get caught. Happens all the time. Right, let's get into this. So a little challenge. By all means, get involved in the chat. And if you're listening to the podcast, just speak to yourself in your mirror, but keep at least one eye on the road. Get involved in this one. Right, what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to put a plethora. What a wonderful word.
There's a word.
Wonderful word. A plethora of young talent on the screen. Sub 24. And you've got to take into account, boys, your current squads. So you can't pick your own players if they're a part of this. You've got to consider who you got in your squad and which three of these players would you take and why. So there's a real chat. They didn't know I was going to do this, but let's have a little chat. There you go. Okay, so a little bit of chat here. So we're going to, and for the sake of the podcast, I will announce who these players are. Now, some people might split hairs and say, "Oh, you should have included." Look, we're going to go with what we've got. Yeah, let's just have a bit of fun. It's Christmas. Let's have a bit of fun. So here we go. The players that you've got to choose from. Remember, you've got to have a reason. Consider your current squads. These are the young talents that we're going to be discussing. So your choices are Aspiro Bichet, Catalan Dragons, George Flanagan, Huddersfield Giants, Harvey Barron, Lewis Martin, Hull FC, Presley Cassell of the Leeds Rhinos, Jaden Myers of Wakefield Trinity, Bailey Hodgson, Lee Leopards, St. Helens, 5 to pick from here, Harry Robertson, George Delaney, George Whitby, Owen Dagnall, Noah Stevens, Warrington, the Fewless Brothers, and Aaron Lindop, and from Wigan, Junior Insemba and Jack Farriman. They are the players, okay? You can pick 3. Of course, you can't pick Flanagan. We're not going to pick a Warrington player. But which 3 would you buy, or which ones would you want in your club and why? So have a little think about that, boys. I'm going to kick off just to give you a little bit of time because you didn't know we were going to do this. So have a little thought. I'll kick off with my first pick. It's a difficult one, this, and it is. But for me, the first pick has to be probably. I'm gonna go Harry Robertson. That'd be my first pick. I think he's got the world at his feet. We've got a Puati at Warrington this season. Of course, Toby King's still there, and there's quite a few players, Aaron Lindop, etc., who can slot in there. But I think if there was an opportunity for any club to take Harry Robertson, I think you'd have to really go for that quality player. I think he is he would certainly be knocking at the door at Warrington straight away, if not in the squad. And of course, for his longevity, he's only a kid. He'd be there for many, many a year. So for me, my first pick will be Harry Robertson. I'd be taking Robertson from St. Helens. Greg, your first pick and why?
My first pick would be Noah Stevens.
Shall
Noah Stevens, because Warrington have... there's been a lot of talk about Warrington's pack being a little bit too light, not enough big frames in it. Noah Stevens can't seem to force his way in at St. Helens. He's a Warrington lad, and he's got... for me, I'm going to say the P word, people, so tick your bingo sheet now. He's got massive potential, Noah Stevens. I really like this kid. He causes damage. He's got a few decent forwards ahead of him at St. Helens, or he did do when he came through. He's been out of favour in recent times under Wellens. Maybe that changes next season. But for me, Noah Stevens, he's a Warrington lad. Come on, why bring him home?
Well, I think if you don't get a lot of game time this year, he could become unsettled. There's no doubt about that. Joel, I mean, you probably take them all. But no, I'm only joking. I'm only kidding. I'm only joking, mate. I'm only joking. But go on, your first pick and why, mate?
Yeah, Reggie took my first pick as well, so it would be Noah Stevens without a doubt, because with Ollie Wilson leaving to Wigan, that leaves a lot of punching power and youth in the legs gone. And I think that's what I know we've got Chris Patello coming in from Manly. However, one player ain't going to be enough to replicate just what Ollie's done over the past couple of seasons. I think we need to have a couple more big mobile props in there, and I think that he would cover that. And he's certainly been someone that I've enjoyed watching, and I really hope he does get some more game time in.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Toddy watched the one where he put Rory McIlroy and George Whitby side by side and did the old comparison, but he's spot on. He says that George Whitby looks like Rory's love child. But you're not going to get any arguments from Super League Raw. It has to be said.
I think he looks like Paul Wellens.
No, mate, it's McIlroy. You put McIlroy's hair on Whitby, mate, especially when he was younger with that poodle haircut. Oh, mate, he'd be an absolute spit for him. Incredible stuff. Right, let's before we go around again, let's get a little bit. Ollie Stokes, our little man Ollie. Presley Cassell, because he'll be great in our pack. Of course, he's a KR fan. He's Ollie. Presley Cassell's a good player, no doubt about it. He's got plenty. I was underwhelmed with Presley in the Academy Grand Final, I have to say. I was underwhelmed by him, but I think there's no doubt he's a great player. Alfie Sinclair. You were mentioning Alfie Sinclair last week, and he's not in the same bracket as these lads yet. Whether don't get me wrong, he could do. He's got a big season ahead, and maybe this time next year we will put Alfie on the screen. But mate, really? Nah. I mean, look, Ewan Irwin's not in the list. Why? Because he's not played enough Super League games. These lads have all been thereabouts and have played a couple of matches and are worthy of a debate, is what I would say. Phil Webster, Robertson, he's put Robertson in his, and quite a few of them actually. Steve Rudge has gone Robertson as well, as to as AD Simpson. He's getting a lot of love in the chat. Noah Stevens as well. AD Simpson is in there. I think Steve Rudge has gone Stevens as well. We picked some of our picks have already come out there, which is interesting. Right, going back to Warrington now. We've got a lot of strength in wide positions, and we have. I do think Jake Fewless last year was a revelation, an absolute revelation, deputising for Matty Ashton. In Matty Ashton, Warrington have arguably got, if not the best, certainly top 2, top 3 winger in the league. No doubt about that on his day. For me, again, if available, and this is really tough, because you look at Lewis Martin and you think, oof, top try scorer last season, get him on your wing. But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go Owen Dagnall. I think Saints have got a player there. I really do. Such a shame he got injured at the back end of last season. I think Owen Dagnall, the size of him, what we've seen of him already, he does look a complete winger. He really does. And if he can push on, based on what we saw last season, wow, what a player this kid could be. He could be, quite simply, the next big winger in British Rugby League. That's my thoughts on him. So even though at this moment in time we have got good wingers at Warrington, I mean, Matt is undroppable on the left, but would I bring Owen Dagenham if he had the opportunity on the right? 100% I would. So again, I'm going to rate the Saints. I think they've got in Robertson and Dagnall two incredible prospects and incredible talent. Well, I don't think word prospect actually counts. I think there's going to be outstanding rugby league players, quite frankly. So I'm going Dagnall as my second pick. Greg?
I'm going Jack Farrimond.
Nice.
This kid is going to be a superstar. When you think that George Williams doesn't probably want to play for Warrington anymore, Mark Sneed is at the end of his career. They've got Irwin coming through, who is a talent. You pair Irwin with Jack Farrimond, and you've got a killer pair as your halves. I really like Jack Farrimond. I think he's got a great attitude. I think he's been patient. You know, he's got some great players ahead of him in that Wigan squad. And I think, for me, Jack Farrimond is somebody I would break the bank to bring to the Halliwell Jones.
Do you know
really would.
What's heartbreaking about that is Leon Hayes. You know, I mean, you're talking Leon Irwin. You know, nobody's talking Leon. And, you know, Leon got the 7 shirt last year. It was his season to go and conquer. He never got himself back on the field of play in terms of being fully fit. And, you know, it's a big year this for Leon. It really is. Such a talented player. But
as much as I like Leon Hayes, you know, and he's good friends with my daughter. Jack Farrimond is going to be an absolute superstar. And if Wigan don't start finding a place for him in that team soon, he's going to get snapped up by somebody. And let's make him. You know, I would be more than happy for Warrington to make him their marquee player.
Ooh, Reggie, Reggie.
He's that good. Wow. He's that good. He is that good. He really is that good.
Well, I think you know.
I think he's an absolute stupendous. Look at some of the tries he scored last season. The kid is unbelievable. Put him with Irwin.
See the thing is, again, mine was contentious in terms of the strength on the wing, but I do think Dagnall. You look at Dagnall and you think, whoa, that he's as well as Jake played last year. You know, Josh, who I think will be utilised as fullback a little bit. I think Dagnall is just you can't overlook him. I'm surprised a little bit when you look at where Warrington currently are in the half. So of course they've got William Sneed for this season. They have got Leon Hayes still knocking about. Ewan Irwin is expected to get a lot of game time this year, and that kid, again, we talk about Robertson having the World Rugby League at his feet. Ewan Irwin has absolutely got, as long as he stays injury free and continues to develop, Ewan Irwin could be a phenomenal player.
He will be.
Potential England international player. You know, when you've got a player like Andrew Johns, you know, waxing lyrical and wanting to be, you know, his agent and get him over the, you know, there's no greater accolade than somebody like Andrew Johns and what he's done in the game, saying about a player.
I'm not saying that you know that he comes in instead of Irwin. I've upset Andy Bibby in the chat. I do apologise, Andy, but Jack Farrimond is going to be a class act. He's going to be a class act. He's a great player. You know, these players are unfortunate in that they've got players ahead of them in the pecking order. He's a great player. Jack Farrimond is going to be an absolute superstar.
I'm not disagreeing. It's your choices, mate. It's your choices. Joel, where are you going second, mate?
This second pick's it's probably the easiest one out of all of them for me, I think. Gonna have to go Aaron Lindop. And the reason for that choice, which actually might be surprising, because we've got quite a strong edge on both sides. But I think Aaron especially would complement our left edge quite well, because, and I'm not going to say on here who I think should be, but I think he should replace one of our players that we've still got. But yeah, I won't say who that is because that's not fair, and they may be listening. But yeah, I'd have Aaron. I think he's a great presence. He's got good ball hands. He knows how to. He knows where the try line is. He's quick. He can defend well. He can do a lot of things that you need for a young player, and he's still got the age left in him to progress a lot and become a real good star. Even though he's already, I'd say, classed as a star already. He's that good. But he for me would be the second choice.
Interesting with Robertson being in there, but maybe he's coming next for you. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, Aaron, had it not been for his injury, I think, in the same way we talk about Harry Robertson, I do think Aaron Lindop would have been getting a lot of noise at the end of 2025. Again, another player who's got so much class and quality in him. He's in great spirits as well. Saw him the other week, and he's in great spirits. Probably not going to make the opening round, but he'll be floating about it after that. Where are we going here? Second pick for Nige Bennett has been junior in December. Dagnall, Farriman and Stevens, Fire Soul. He was that good. He named himself twice. But Dagnall, Farriman and Stevens. Gomez Gang. Outstanding. Give our best to Morticia Gang. He's going to go Cassell, Farriman and Whitby. Hey, he'd love us to be on a Wednesday, wouldn't he? Oh!
Dagnall.
Dagnall,
not Whitby, Dagnall.
Dagnall, my apologies. But I'm sure I get the Wednesday gag out nice and early. But anyway, a light bulb moment, maybe. I don't know. They're all coming out. Anyway, let's move on. I've enough of this thing, haven't we? Anyway, Hodgson for Nige Bennett for utility player. He's in there as well. Gary White, can I say? Oh, Gaz, lad, hope you're well. Hodgson, Flanagan, and Cassell as a Wigan fan. Interesting. There you go. So that's all interesting stuff. Flanagan's getting, Farriman's getting a few nods in there, and rightly so.
He's a great player.
He's a great player, Reg. I'm not saying he's not a great player. He's a great player. Outstanding. Right. And then the last pick for me, let's go into a lot. And I'm not being funny, but if you had the opportunity, and like you, Reggie, Noah Stevens, I think Noah's got it. I have. But his lack of game time in 25, I want to see him again in 26, because you don't know how that's going to affect a player. It's the same for all of these players that have, the likes of Lindop, he's lost the year. Leon Hayes lost the year. I want to see Noah Stevens back and, what he's all about. Hopefully that's not affected him too much. So because of his season last year not being in, I'm just going to, I think if he'd have been playing more last year and played as well as 24, I think I'm with you. I'm putting him in. But because I didn't see anything of him really last season, I want to see what he's all about when he comes back. I would expect him to be equally as good. Really amazed. I think we're all amazed that Noah didn't get more game time, especially with the way Saints played. That was just balmy. So because of that, I've got to go with Nsemba. I have to. If you had an opportunity of bringing Junior Nsemba to your club, you'd have to take it. And I know we've got, again, reasonable depth there in the second row, especially with Tanya Noah now coming in, etc. But this is Junior Nsemba. Junior Nsemba is just a beast. I mean, you'd have to. You couldn't not. And, to just recap, Harry Robertson would be in the centre. You'd have Dagnall and Ashton on the wings. And then somewhere in your second row is Junior Nsemba. They'd be... Let me just roll a bit more. I tell you. Unbelievable. That would be outstanding. Even Sam Burgess, he's salivating at the thought of that. Oh, dear Lord. But anyway, that's where I go. Good evening to Greg Roach. He's with us as well. So that'd be my final pick, Reggie. Where are you going?
Well, Warrington have got there's a lot of controversy over the fullback position. So you've got Asparagus Bucket there and Flanagan. But, Kai Taylor, I think he's going to be, this is going to be his breakout season. I know what you're saying about Robertson, but Aaron Lindop, for me, is as good on his day. Preston Cassell, a great player, going to Australia, though. Yeah. Lewis Martin, wow, what a season he had last year. For me, there's only one name that I can pick out that list, and that's Nsemba, for the same reasons that you say, that he's absolute, if there's going to be a player that if the opportunity came up to sign him, are you doing that at me or at Andy Bibby?
Andy Bibby, mate.
You know what? A pants Junior Nsemba is much better than a lot of second rowers in this competition. If you got the chance to sign Junior Nsemba, oh, that's not at me.
Give your head a wobble.
Yeah, that's for Andy. Deary me, Andy, mate, get into the detail, mate. By his 2024 standards, he was slightly off, but ever so slightly off. If you actually break down Junior Nsemba's contribution to Wigan Warriors last year, you were comparing him to the 24 version. By any standards, he was unlucky, if you get into the detail, not to have been in the dream team. He was in the top, well, he was top 3, mate. Top 3 second rowers in 25. Wow.
Junior, if you get the chance to sign Junior Nsemba and you're a Super League team and you're the CEO of a Super League team and Wigan turn around and say, we're putting Nsemba up for sale, I'll tell you what, you are buying him. You are buying him.
100%.
You will break the bank again. He's going to be in the NRL in a few years. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He should have been in the England squad.
Yeah.
That is a mystery deeper than Bermuda Triangle. Why he isn't in the England squad?
Just on that, Reg, young Ollie's asked the question: how old is Nsemba? Ollie, this will make you just wince, mate. He's 21. Yeah. He's 21, Ollie. Frightening.
Yeah, and he's junior Nsemba. You should see senior Nsemba, but this kid, superstar. There's nothing else you can say about him. Yeah. Yeah. He should have been in the Ashes. He should have been in the dream team. He's an absolute superstar. There's absolutely nobody else on that list you'd want to sign.
Andy Bibby's overjoyed that he's got a give you a head of wobble all through.
I think that's what Andy lives for, getting the give you a head of wobble.
Well, I was delighted to give him it. I've got no doubt about it. Coming to a Blackpool beach near you soon. Unbelievable.
Well played, Andy, mate. Well played.
Very much so. Joel, who's your last pick, mate?
Well, seeing as he played so pants last year, I think I'm going to follow suit. He was always going to be my third pick, Big Junior. Contrary to some people's opinions, I think he's the missing link in a lot of people's teams. He brings what we've certainly been missing since McQueen left, was a lot of spice in the second row. And Junior he's got punching power. He's athletic. He's got a step on him. He's got a good offload when he wants to. But oftentimes he doesn't need to because he's that good. He can break a line himself and make a good run. He's almost like the ultimate second rower that you'd want. And I know we've got Asher O'Donnell, who's going to be like our next man, who's the similar hilt of Junior Nsemba. But to have Junior in there for us in the second row would be out of this world. I was thinking of maybe Robertson, but then our edge is far too thick right now. But you can't have enough too many pack members. And Junior is certainly the Rottweiler of in dog terms.
Yeah, I mean, look, he made a few errors last year, and I think it's the same with Alex Walmsley at Saints. For whatever reason, Alex Walmsley's knock-ons get a lot of press, but then you break it down. What is Alex Walmsley's job to do? It's to carry the ball, to make meters, and to tackle bust. And Alex Walmsley made the most meters in Super League and was the highest tackle busting prop forward. What more do you want him to do? Yeah, he dropped a couple of balls. I'm sorry, but show me a prop forward who doesn't. Same with Junior Nsemba. Yes, by his standards of the previous season, maybe he was a little bit off. But let's not forget, this is a guy who scored 7 tries. He made 8 for his teammates. His tackle busts were well in excess of 120 odd. I don't know the exact, but it was well in excess of 120 odd. His tackle efficiency wasn't bad. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. He played 20. I think he played virtually every game. He might have missed 1 or 2. He was outstanding.
And he's 21.
And he's 21.
21. He's got 12, 13 years ahead of him. Many of those years are going to be in the NRL. I will guarantee that.
Watch how dangerous he is when he turns 26.
Frightening, mate. It's frightening, mate. Absolutely frightening. Yeah. But look, very enjoyable. Adi said, which ones would you definitely? That's a bit harsh. I think, and I get your point on this, boys. I think all of those players are incredible talents in our game. It's going to be interesting to see. Are all of them going to be internationals? Are all of them going to fulfil the promise? It'd be unthinkable to think they all would. It would be unthinkable to think that they all would. But do I think they're going to have long careers in our game, in the British game? 100%. Do I think a handful of them could go and play the trade in the NRL? Absolutely. The British British game, when you look at faces like that and the talent that's coming through, all bar the TV deal, and I keep saying this, all bar the TV deal, everything else, the players that are coming through, the viewing figures, the attendances, the entertainment, we can't compare ourselves to the NRL. The NRL is a completely different animal, but our competition is getting better. It's getting stronger. It's getting more competitive. And long may that continue. And I'd rather celebrate that. So, like I say, each of those players, we wish them well in 2026. That was it. That was a good chat, lads. I enjoyed that.
In answer to Aidan's question, the 3 players I wouldn't sign would be the 2 Thulises and Lindop, because we've already got them.
Correct. Absolutely. In the spirit. I'd tell you the one that and I'd tell you now, you look at those players. There's one that almost feels the odd one out. And I think I've just got to address that. And it's Jaden Myers. But that lad, I'll tell you now, keep an eye on that lad. Very under the radar, very impressed, very, very impressed with what he did for the Mighty Trin last year. Keep an eye on that kid. Keep an eye on him. In that company, he almost seems a little bit out of it. But I'll tell you what, I don't know what it is about that lad. There's something about him. I really, really like him. He's a player that I'm going to enjoy watching. Maybe he'll be me one to watch for 2026 for Wakey. I don't know. We'll have
Maybe.
to. New Year. No spoilers. No spoilers. We'll wait until we get January before we do that. Right. Let's have a quick chat about the Leeds Rhinos. Of course, finished 4th in 2025, which was a big improvement. They were 8th the year before. Let's not forget that. Incredible improvement, especially defensively. In 2024, they conceded 488 points. That was down to 310 last season. Their for and against aggregate went from plus 42 to plus 300. And that was because of good attack and really, really good defence, it has to be said. And it took a wonder try. Let's not forget that. It took a wonder try to knock them out of the competition. And he did. Very, very impressed. In fact, let's bring him on. He's on the screen. He is. Here's our Steph. Hey up, Chief. Steph has joined us at last. Steph, we're just at the point of reviewing Leeds Rhinos season. So you've come in as we've started. So just to quickly recap for Steph, Leeds up 4 places year on year. Their for and against went from plus 42 to plus 300. Incredible, better attack, better defence, and only got beat, knocked out by that wonder try wide, of course, to right. Incredible try that knocked them out. One of the great stories of 25 for me, the Leeds Rhinos, because the club itself, it is such. It's just such a huge club in our game, and they have been AWOL. I mean, people would say, "Well, no, Rowan Smith got them to a grand final," but I think the brand of rugby that Rowan had them playing wasn't attractive rugby. The Leeds Rhinos teams that we've enjoyed watching have been expansive. We've had flair players that have really done well. I thought we saw a bit of that last year through Brad Arthur. I thought we saw, in Lockie Miller, they've got a sensational fullback. James McDonald's been an outstanding, what a season he had in his second row. Callum Watkins, arguably one of the signings of the season. Madness, but he was. Leeds, for me, a real success story in 2025. It's what the competition needs. We said last week we need a strong St. Helens, Greg. We need a strong Leeds Rhinos, and we've got it. They're back. As he's on mute and not answering. There he is.
Sorry, I thought you were talking to Steph about
No. No, to you.
No, yeah, I mean, as Steph said, I think at the beginning of last season, Brad Arthur was the person that had to prove himself. If I remember correctly, I think he did. It was in a way a typical Leeds season where they didn't do really very well early doors, and then they got it together. And you know what I'm going to say? I mean, the difference was Jake Connor. He really turned up for Leeds. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to give you a bingo tick, but he really turned up for Leeds. He showed what he can do. And rightfully Man of Steel, again, another player that should have been in the England squad, should have played in the Ashes, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, we need a strong Leeds. We need the traditional teams to be strong to push the league forward. And yeah, you know, there was a joke for a few years that Leeds would finish 8th, and they proved everybody wrong last year. Like I say, a slow start, but you know, and again, it took a wonder try to remove them from competition.
Phil, can you just clarify what you're saying there? So, just for the purposes of the podcast, Phil Webster, who watches us on a Tuesday, he's disagreeing with me. I've said that, you know, we need a strong Leeds, we need a strong Saints. He says, I disagree, we need a strong league.
Yeah, I thought you were looking at me like that, Dave.
No, can you just clarify what you're saying there before we get the donkey out? Steph, back to you. Welcome, by the way. As a man who said that Leeds Rhinos head man was your point to prover, I think it's a brilliant. It's a brilliant story, Leeds. Overshadowed by Wakefield a little bit, I would say, but it's a brilliant story that Leeds have come back to the table.
Yeah, but first and foremost, apologies for being late. Nice to join everyone, and thank you for everyone saying good evening in the chat. I did say Brad Arthur had the most to prove out of probably a lot of the coaches in Super League, and boy did he deliver. Bringing Connor in was inspirational. You know, a lot of people, including myself, questioned that how he would go. Jake put all the doubters wrong, didn't he? And you know, no more so than getting Man of Steel, which was phenomenal, and he was pivotal in that turnaround from Leeds' 2 consecutive 8th place finishes to get to 4th and one game away from a chance at Old Trafford. Was a phenomenal season. They'll be disappointed that they didn't get to Old Trafford. I think that they showed the form and, to coin Reggie's phrase, potential to do it this season. I think they would have been, if they'd have got there, I don't think anyone would have argued with Leeds being in the grand final this year. I think at times they were that good this season. And they've got, you know, players to come back in. You know, Sivo, losing him right at the beginning would have derailed them a little bit. But I agree. I think Watkins was an inspired signing for them mid-season. He added so much to them. I think players like Hankinson did well for them as well. You know, he was defensively sound, and they were a massive improvement. And you've got to put a lot of that in Brad Arthur's coaching, and in particular defensively. I think the defence shored up massively compared to the seasons before, and then you throw in Connor was like a utility player when he first signed, wasn't he? And then they moved him from the fullback position when Miller came back. That's when Leeds' season started to turn around, when they got Miller back, Connor into the halves. And they looked a different side when that happened, and a real threat, and one that was capable of beating any side in Super League. So yeah, phenomenal season by them, and they'll definitely be looking to build on that this year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, completely and utterly agree. I mean, Phil said that, you know, we need a strong league in terms of individual teams. Look, I've got to go there, Phil. I think in 2025, look, Joel, I'm going to come to you on these in a minute, but I'm just going to address what Phil's saying about the league. Okay, I've been watching this. Phil, you've been watching it longer than me. I've been watching rugby league all my life. I've seen the days where we had no competition, which was the Wigan days for obvious reasons. What I think we're seeing, certainly the last 3 or 4 years, is the landscape of rugby league changing. I think we're seeing a competition that is a genuine competition. I said at the back end of last season, I do believe that the trebles and the not the individual season trebles, but you know what Saints did 4 in a row, Wigan. You know, I think they're going to be very hard to come by. Is what I'm seeing. I think when you look at the strength of our competition at this moment in time, you know, we've got KR at the top of the tree. Wigan are going to push them all the way again. Leeds, you would hope, will push on. Leigh, push on. Warrington, hopefully get better next year. Had shocking injuries, the amount of ACLs. You'd expect Warrington to be stronger. You'd expect Catalans to be better. You want Wakey to go again. You want FC to go again. That's the hope. Then you've got the likes of Huddersfield, who were decimated by injuries. If Huddersfield could have put something like their top 20, not 17, their top 20 on the park for the whole season, Huddersfield Giants would have took a lot of scalps over the course of the season. So for me, I actually think we're in a really good place. I think we're in a really good place on the field. Of course, this move to 14 teams, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do we expect big things from the 3 that have come up? I don't know. But again, I go back to Toulouse, who very nearly relegated Warrington. I go back to London, who very, very nearly relegated FC. And that was without the promise of Super League. These teams, yes, okay, you've got the 50% distribution, but each one of these, the chairman of these clubs said, we'll come back we'll invest for that year. So they're happy to invest a full cap. They've shown that they're willing to put money behind the team because they've got those assurances, hopefully with the right TV deal for 2027, that they'll get the full amount and more because we're pushing for more. So for me, I don't know, Phil. I think you're being a bit harsh there, mate. I think you're being really, really harsh. I think the league is in a really good place, and maybe the boys will come in on that once we've had Joel's take on Leeds. Joel, have your take on Leeds, and then once you've had your take on Leeds, maybe what's your view on the state of the league going into 2026?
Yeah, so just briefly on Leeds, I think it's great to see the trajectory that they're going in. It's an upwards one, and it's one that we expect Leeds to be at. Leeds as a club themselves have said over the years that they expect nothing less than the best. And that's what we expect. We've known Leeds to be up there amongst the higher echelons of the league for many a season. It's more just recently they've had a dip since they had their all-star players retire and leave and unfortunately have passed away. Though now they are starting to see a resurgence of getting that youth in, that good talent of the youth that they've got coming through. And, you're seeing Presley playing, and it's great that these young lads are getting their opportunities because Leeds are a great club for doing that. They do give the youngsters a good opportunity, and if they don't take the opportunity, then unfortunately, that's the end of them. That's just how the big clubs work. But yeah, to back up among that with what you were saying, Dave, and to reply to Phil there, is unless these teams individually get better, the league won't get better. So you're kind of going against your own argument there a little bit because, these individual squads have to improve and have to, get the chance to win these titles for the league to improve. If KR hadn't have won it, it would have been a Wigan season again. But then you're looking at the likes of Leigh. Spoiler alert, I've got Leigh in the top 4 for next year. And
that's not a spoiler.
No, but we're going to those predictions, and it's in they're in my top 4. Yeah. Leigh, we're in the Championship. Look where they're at now.
Yeah.
They're literally
and Hull KR.
Of course, yeah. But you look at, I'm just like, for example, with Leigh, if they didn't finish out the top 4, something's really wrong. So this is what we're saying. The point with these clubs that at once upon a time were never even viewed to be part of Super League, like you said, KR and so on. These clubs are now at the very top and have got some incredible talent. And we're going to have to see these other clubs stepping up to the mark for us to have a better league, and we will do. But we need to have that positivity around the clubs and celebrate the wins that they have. We were all delighted that KR won the treble, but like you said, it's going to become very hard to do that again. It may not happen again, but we're looking forward to the ride.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for me, Greg, I think again what we've seen in the last couple of years is the old guard, not all of them, taking Wigan out of the mix on this, but the old guard rested on the laurels. Warrington, Castleford, Huddersfield, established Super League clubs since the dawn of Super League. They have been overtaken by clubs that have gone down and come back up more fierce. And I think, that's where people should be looking and going, hang on a minute. How can this be? How can it be that Warrington, who have played full cap for all of these years, and fair enough, they're changing the philosophy now with the kids, and hopefully that works for them. But how can a Warrington, how can a FC, how can a Castleford, how can a Huddersfield, these teams that, I mean, let's be fair, what have all them got in common? They've won a League Leaders Shield. So, let's look at it for what it is. And then the likes of KR, Leigh and Wakey have gone, hey, I'll hold me bear, lads, because here we come. So if they can do it, York can do it. Bradford hopefully can do it. London are chomping at the bit. They're going to walk the championship next year. The only people who can beat London in the championship next year are London. That's it. Complacency. They should absolutely walk it. And they will be banging on the door at the end of this season. And with the finances behind them and the players, watch out when London get their act together, because it looks as if that's going to happen as well. So, Greg, do you share my optimism? The league is in a really good spot. And what we need is Warrington's, Catalans, Huddersfield, FC to continue to now go, well, hang on a minute. We've been overtaken, but boys, we're going to reel you back in and quickly. We know you like fishing. Come on. Get your catchment back.
Yeah, I think it's been a real wake-up call for,
as
you call them, the traditional rugby league. Hull KR are traditional, Wakefield are traditional, Leigh are traditional rugby league teams. These are founding fathers of the sport. I think that the way that Wakefield and the way that Leigh and the way that Hull KR have suffered relegations and been in the championship and come back stronger, I think other Super League teams now have got to wake up and look at those models and say, well, how have they been successful? How have they passed us? And I think it's a wake-up call. It has to be a wake-up call for the so-called giants of rugby league, like your Castlefords, your traditional teams, your Warringtons, your Castlefords, your Hulls. They've got to turn around and say, well, what are they doing? What have they done? Why have we allowed this to happen to these teams? And this is no disrespect to those teams by any stretch of the imagination. Oh. And it's great to see Wakefield finishing sixth. It's great to see Leigh winning a Challenge Cup and pushing for a grand final. It's great to see Hull KR winning a grand final and breaking that monopoly of those four teams. I think it's fantastic for the sport. It's up to the other teams now to turn around and say, what are we doing wrong? What are they doing right? And how do we get to that point where everybody in the league has got a chance not to lift the League Leaders Shield? Because we've seen 5 or 6, 7, 8 different teams have won the League Leaders Shield. Only 5 now have won grand final. So how do we take it on a further stage? And you have to look at those models and look at the success and say, right, well, we've got to do something now. We've got to change. Like I said earlier in the show, stop treating it like a cottage industry and start treating it like a business. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do to get this. And yeah, it is exciting that now we could have a stronger Saints, a stronger Leeds, and teams have got to wake up and say, right, now we need to be stronger.
Well, that's what Volandis wants to do, isn't he? He wants
to, exactly.
And it's the right way. I mean, look, Steph, speaking of the converted, I mean, your team's in there and it's competing now. And I know that you share my optimism that I think on the field, off the field, I say it again, Steph, the only KPI that doesn't show where Rugby League is heading at the moment is the TV deal. Everything else, attendances, viewing figures, the quality of the product, the razzmatazz before the games, again, your man at your helm has revolutionised pre and post and, halftime entertainment. Always going to have to look at that and follow it. But there's a lot to be excited about. This game for me is probably in the best place it has been for many years.
Absolutely. And if you look at all the measurables, and one thing Rugby League has been rubbish at is saying when we're good at something. And I think this season we have stepped that up a little bit. They have got in with the increased viewing figures, the increased attendances, etc., etc. And long may that continue, because if we do want a stronger TV deal, that's what we've got to do and really push for it. The next step is to push for TV broadcasters to not put us on red buttons behind that, not have bargain hunt on instead of live rugby league, and stuff like that. So that is the next step. But I think we're in a great position to negotiate a TV deal at the moment. I think the game's never been stronger. it's certainly as strong as when Nigel Wood negotiated that record deal last time. So let's hope we can come up with something similar this time. But I think the main reason for that is, and it goes back to the point we were making earlier in your argument you're having with Phil. I don't think the league's ever been stronger. In terms of, like, you're always going to get a couple of teams that have horrendous seasons. That's always going to happen. You're always going to end up with one or two that suffer, catastrophic injury crisis. That's always going to happen. But if you look at how exciting that playoff picture was this year and the year before as well, the race for the sixth spot and the race for 1 and 2, we had so much drama and excitement, and it's typical of rugby league fans to put the negativity on it again. It was a phenomenal year last year. There was so many great stories, so many brilliant tales to tell, and not more so than the Leeds and Saints game with the wide to right try, and stuff like that. It was box office TV, and I know we're preaching to the converted a lot of the times on this show and to us individually. But there's so much to celebrate, and we need to stop underselling ourselves as a sport. And I think we're starting to get that message, and hopefully that will go forward into the thing. And just for my mate Andy, who's laughing at Leigh potentially finish fourth, I shouldn't rise to it, but I'm going to. Just remind me, Andy, who finished third last season and who's been one step away from Old Trafford for the past two, and come back to me when you've done that for Warrington.
Ooh, spiky from the Sale. But this is the beauty of Super League Raw. Is there another podcast out there that will actually go on the fly? We have just debated Phil Webster in our chat for the last 10 minutes. That's what makes us unique. This show is a two-way thing. Phil's threw it out there. We've had a really good debate around Phil's comments, and that's what it's all about. And then you get Steph getting spiky. Wonderful stuff. Outstanding. Hey, and Gremlins is a Christmas film. Nothing like a good spike at Christmas, is there? Steady. There goes the thumbs up from Reggie. Oh, yes. And is Die Hard a Christmas movie, Greg?
No.
Steph?
Yes.
Joel?
Oops, sorry.
It's all right. Die Hard, Christmas movie.
Die Hard. Oh yeah, cracking movie.
Oh, it's a movie set at Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, mate. It's a Christmas movie. Absolutely. Incredible stuff. 3-1, you lost. Anyway, let's talk
democracy.
Let's talk the Leopards. So the Leopards, of course, 5th in 24, 3rd. And at one point, looks as if it could be a top 2. A lot of change at the Leopards going into I said it very, very early on. I saw enough in Leigh Steph was even questioning their top 6 credentials, and I don't know what show it was, but I have to go back and look at it. But I went early, Steph, and I did. I didn't have any doubt at all that Leigh were finishing in the top 6. Would I put them 3rd? Probably not. I think that was an incredible feat to finish as high as they did. But dear me, the surgery really paid off. Massive shock that Ethan O'Neill has gone out to Leeds. That's a shock to the outside. Inside, maybe there's reasons, but from the outside, Ethan O'Neill going to Leeds a bit of a surprise. Tessie New, just incredible. David Armstrong to come back to be like a new signing in 26. You've got Bailey Hodgson, who was incredible. Yumala Hanley improved. I've got to say, the lad on the wing, God, his name's just gone out of my head. Come on.
Keenan Brand.
That's the one, Keenan Brand. Love Ireland, man. Keenan, I thought he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Couldn't fault Keenan Brand last season. Lachlan Lamb, arguably his best season in Super League as an individually. It was that good last season. I think Joffa's been a good signing, I have to say. Again, the recruitment at Leigh, incredible. And you'll be hoping that they've done it again in 2026. Massive improvement from Leigh. And I thought some of the rugby they played, no more so than KR at home, that I had the privilege of being there with our KR members as well as Steph and his family. And what an incredible performance that was that day. Real good quality performance from Leigh against the treble winners. Let's not forget that. Really, really good indeed. Do you know what? Before we get the views of the boys on the Leigh Leopards, I have to say, Greg Roach, that is a great question. Does a Yorkshire pudding go on a traditional Christmas? It shouldn't be on a Christmas dinner, boys. That is a great question. We can't not answer Greg's question when it's that good. Yorkshire pudding, Christmas dinner, Greg, yes or no?
100%.
100% going Yorkshire pudding.
Doubt.
Steph?
No, we're not having that dirty Yorkshire look on our Christmas dinner.
No, he's at it tonight. He's gone for Bibby and now he's going for the Yorkshire man. Dear me, she'll come in halfway through every day. Even Joel's giving her a scowl.
Every Sunday throughout the year, yes, not Christmas dinner.
But not Christmas dinner. But Joel,
Yorkshire should be served every day of the week. Mr. Sale.
Do you know what? I agree with Mr. Sale. If I've got 3 meats on my plate, I don't need a Yorkshire pudding. But don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a good Yorkshire pudding. Anyway, let's go. Let's talk Leigh. Greg, Leigh Leopards, incredible. Their return to Super League and everything above, and another positive season for no silverware, but another positive step in the right direction for the Leopards. Greg.
Yeah. It's a great success story, as Steph said. We need to celebrate the success stories of Rugby League and Super League, and Leigh Leopards are one of those success stories. They've bounced back and they've done an absolute fantastic job in filling the stadiums, in the pre-match entertainment. We kind of wrote them off a little bit when they lost a few of their signings to other teams at the beginning of last season. They've got an uncanny knack of bringing in players who just do the job and do the job well. Asiata and O'Neill and players like that. And we kind of wrote them off a little bit because they'd lost a few players, but, they certainly proved us wrong. And they were very unlucky. They came up against a Vaughan-inspired Wire in the semi-final. Probably Vaughan's best game of the season by a million miles, I would say. And we're lucky not to go further in playoffs, I thought. Leah to be celebrated as a great success story, and long may it continue.
Absolutely,
yeah. Another Heartland club, another one of the traditional clubs that I hope Steph doesn't mind me saying this. Have probably lived in the shadow of their more illustrious neighbours for quite a while now, and that they're turning the tables a little bit, which is good to see.
Yeah, they are the witness of the WM postcode, aren't they? It has to be so.
Yeah. Having said that, Witness's new home shirt is a really nice shirt.
Ooh, I know. Yeah, I know the Leigh Leopards fans have been filthy. They've been filthy, haven't they? Hey, what a lovely bit of spread that
really
is.
Nice shirt, that Witness shirt. I think it's lovely.
And I'll tell you what, I think the Wigan one, which we're waiting on, I think it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. If you've seen the training range at Wigan, it's a bit out there. I think the Wigan shirt this year could be a bit different. It's going to be interesting when that one comes along. Yeah, you're right, Witness. Nice shirt that. For the Vikings, very, very nice.
Lovely shirt.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like I say, don't get me wrong, they're going to have trouble drying it in the shadow, aren't they? But anyway, by the way, let's just move on from that one. Joel, Leigh Leopards, mate, like me, and I'm sure Reggie, and obviously the Leifers, enjoyable to watch in 25, weren't they?
They were, yeah, and they're going to be even better this next season. They've been a cracking team for the past few years now. What I think the beauty of Leigh is that they've, since coming up from the Championship again, they've really just pushed on and just bettered themselves each and every year. We've talked about how Hull KR did the on-field and off-field. Leigh have just done the exact same thing. They're brilliant. They're doing everything just right. The greatest showman, all the razzmatazz that you get when you go to Leigh. I'm really looking forward to coming to Leigh again next year. It was a really good do. And yeah, I'm so pleased for the fans and the club. They've just got everything right. We've had a bit of a chuckle at them with the kits and stuff when they first came out, but look who's having the laugh now. Leigh are right up there laughing at all of us. And can I just have a little quick shout out because my good friend Tom Jepson's in the chat. I haven't seen Tom for a little while, but Tom, come over to YouTube and scan that QR code.
Absolutely, yes, I 100% would say that to Tom. But yes, but yeah, I mean, look, Steph, I mean, it'd be a bit crass for you to really go big here on your own side, but all I would say is that you must be delighted as a Leifer in the direction of your club. Fourth, with the competition that I think it was going to be. I think I said it last week. I think KR, it's a bit of a leveller. What KR have got to go through at the start of the season. It's how they respond from the World Club Challenge in Vegas. Wigan struggled with that. I think Wigan will steal a march early doors where the league. But I do think, I say all these clubs behind, all of them should be improving. I think the top four should be confident going into the new season that they hold those places. But there's going to be a lot of clubs that are really nipping at the heels, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And from a league perspective, this is probably the going into this new season is the least change Leigh have had since they came into Super League. We've always turned over between 12 and 13 players in every season so far. And I think this year it's only 5 or 6. So yeah. It's going to be very interesting. But it's like I said earlier, any team can have an off season, can't they? If injuries hit Leigh, there's an unknown with Adam Cook, who's going to be a brand new halfback. So a lot will depend on that. But we still got Gaz O'Brien, so even if he doesn't work out, Gaz can come back in. We've
Good
added
eye,
Dennis.
mate.
Yeah, very good, very Lachlan Lamb-esque. So if he can get his assist going with Lamb, then that could be frightening. Adding in his senior, I think he's gone completely under the radar of most Super League fans. I predict if he goes injury free next year, I think he'll be the top try scorer in Super League, or if not, he'll be right up there. Horn again, another great addition, I think, for Leigh to replace Brad Dwyer. But I think we're, as Andy says, we're light in the forwards. We've only got our 2 international props in Owen Trout and Robbie Muller and Joffa. So yeah, I think we might struggle in the prop position next year.
You're filthy with him tonight. Happy days.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. I tell you.
Someone else in chat was saying that we're getting relegated next season, apparently.
It's just right. Look. I mean, I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get the donkey out again. I don't. No, I'm not doing. No, I'm not doing it. But Andy, mate, you're having a shocker tonight, mate. You don't mind me saying. I really do hope you're doing this.
I think Andy's.
I think he's looking for the donkey.
I think he's throwing hand grenades.
Yeah, he's throwing hand grenades in because he just.
I think he knows. And I think he knows what he's doing, Andy.
I'd imagine him and Judson in the same bar. Oh, that'd be fun. That imagine Warrington Hull FC, Ian and Andy Bibby going toe to toe. Oh, that would be glorious.
Wonderful.
It'd be glorious. Absolutely glorious. But yeah, anyway, there you go.
Just a thingy on that, just a quick one. I think people are. I think people are forgetting as well that Leigh are still in dreamland. Leigh as a club never even got in the playoffs in Super League. Never mind the times we did get in Super League. So for 3 consecutive years to make playoffs and improve season on season and have the turnover of players we've had, we're still in dreamland. And yeah, we could well drop out. Andy might be right. We might drop out at the expense of Warrington. That's a very real possibility.
No, it's not.
But if what happens like to Huddersfield happens to Leigh, which could happen, if Lockie Lamb gets injured, there's so many different things that could happen, isn't there? In a season. So yeah, but just for Andy, it's better being a Leigh fan than a Warrington fan at the moment.
Absolutely.
Oh, aye. Let's leave.
But I tell you now, you go into this new season, and I think that when we get into January and we start to do our predictions, I think there's going to be a lot of genuine title contenders. I think there's going to be a lot of. I'd say it's going to be very, very hard and difficult to really nail down playoff places. I think the playoff places are going to be incredibly competitive in 2025, 2026. It's going to be fascinating. And like I say, what a great thing for people like ourselves and those who watch us religiously, who love the great game of rugby league. New year breathes new life into us all. And I think it's going to be a great season. And hopefully you're going to join us every step of the way here at Super League Raw. Like I say, we've got some tremendous new programs on the way for you that we're going to be announcing very, very shortly as we go through it. We've announced again. I just want to, and again, I don't apologise for this because of the cause, guys. I don't apologise for this. Please, 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 you don't have to be a member for this. Come to Super League Raw Live at the Bluebell on the 18th of February. George Whitby announced tonight, Steve McNamara, Danny Walker. We are expecting more from Warrington Wolves. I'd expect perhaps more from Saints. Leigh are going to come good. I know they are in terms of some Leigh people in the room. Wouldn't be surprised if an Huddersfield player wasn't in the car as well with Joel. We'll get plenty of representation down there. They'll all be interviewed. They'll all be mingling. We'll be raffle prizes. All proceeds are going to go to young Alfie. If you're listening on the podcast, go to our website, superleagueraw.com. Go to the shop section. All the details you need on Alfie Sales is there. And like I said earlier in the show, once you've met this lad, you're going to remember him for the rest of your life. He is one of life's really, really special people, as to his family. Absolutely wonderful cause. 18th of February. Make sure you're there. Don't know what you're laughing at. What are you laughing at?
My mate Tom's comment is just put on. Tom, get onto YouTube as well. I keep telling you.
Tom, do as you're told. Joel should be the next Giants coach. Right. Look, bottom line is we're almost done. And I'm going to do this. I'll go away with it because we're good mates. Today, everybody knows that I'm a massive advocate of mental health and well-being. I've told my story, my personal story, or hinted at it a few times on the show. And what was absolutely wonderful today was that Joel has started a new journey on YouTube. And I would ask everybody who watches Super League Raw, Joel's journey. Give me the title of the channel. Your channel.
I got myself.
I think it's your journey. Is it Joel's journey? Help us out. Help us out, Joel, and plug in your ear, lad.
I did it this morning. I know, beginning.
Right, here we go. Here we go. I'll tell you what it is. That's just got Joel written on it. Becoming Joel.
Becoming Joel. That's
Joel. Becoming Joel. Now, I've known Joel for quite a few years, and I know the lad behind the screen. And he's right. You know, he says some really poignant things in his first post. Joel's going on a journey, and he's asking you to join him on that journey. It's a really good behind the mask moment. I talk a lot about the mask. And Joel wears a mask, and he's very open about that. And this show means so much to Joel, because for 2 hours every week, he can forget about everything other than rugby league. And Joel just comes on and talks rugby league. And I know a lot of the members love Super League Raw for that reason, that it's an escapism from everyday life. And, you know, there's a lot of people who've gravitated to this program who I won't talk about, because I wouldn't want to betray the confidence. But Joel, I know I'm safe because today he's thrown himself out there. And that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. Me and Joel speak a lot. And today Joel's been very brave. He's spoken very honestly about his weight and his health. And I would ask everybody who is listening to the podcast and everybody who's watching the show, go and find his new channel. He's done his first blog today. It made me very emotional because he's a very good friend of mine. And there's times in it where you know it's authentic. It's not made up. It's not a script. It's Joel. And that's what makes it absolutely wonderful. It's a tremendous first effort. I think you've been incredibly brave, mate, to do that. Behind every Super League Raw presenter is a man. And, you know, we can come on here and we can be jovial and we can talk rugby league and we can escape for 2 hours. But behind the screen is life, the same life as everybody who watches us. And life challenges you. And I think for you to say, look, yes, I'm Joel who does a bit of presenting on Super League Raw, but I'm also Joel, the father, the husband, the husband, Joel, the man. I thought it's 12 minutes of authentic content. He's going to keep doing it. And, mate, I just want to applaud you, pal. I want to applaud you for what you've done today. You are, without doubt, and we'd all say this, the biggest, giantest gentleman we know. You're one of life's good guys. And I hope that this journey brings you to that happiness that you want to get to, mate. And I'm pretty confident with your wife and your kid and your family, you've got all the support you need, but you've also got us three ugly buggers as well behind you. So you go and smash it, my mate. So, ladies and gentlemen, please go to Becoming Joel. Have a watch of that. I won't make him speak because I know he's a big softie and he'll get emotional. So just make sure you go on that journey with Joel. It's been an absolute pleasure today. to see you take that brave step, mate. So very, very well done indeed. And that's what makes Super League Raw different. We're human beings that love rugby league, and we want to be a part of it with you, the people who watch us. If you're not a member, become a member. This is more than a rugby league podcast. It's far, far more than that. Just ask the members, they'll tell you. And to all of the members today who have supported Joel, and special mention to Heather Bailey as well, who actually recorded a voice note in the WhatsApp group for Joel and shared that with us all. I know how much that meant to the big fella. And again, you are a testament, Heather, to what our community is all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to becoming Joel. We will be back for our final show of 2025 next Tuesday. It's all over next week. And then we come back in the new year with some surprises for you. That's what we're going to do. You want to be a part of it. Like I said, join the show. We need volunteers to be, your club's roving reporters. We've got loads of stuff happening next season. New podcasts on the way. I'm not going to spoil those for you. I've got lots of meetings in the next 2 weeks to make sure that everybody is shipshape and ready for what's about to come. But you guys who watch us every week, believe me, you're in for an absolute treat and a rugby league experience. So on behalf of us all, we'll go out there. Joel, legend. Red Jet, legend. Mr. Sale, legend. Have a great week, folks, and we will see you for more Super League Raw Weekly next Tuesday, because as we all know, you can't beat a better weekly.
See you guys.